So you have some free time in your hands, and lately you have been thinking that it might be a good idea to start learning several languages at the same time. In this video, we'll be looking into whether it's a good idea and what you should take into account when you are learning several languages at the same time. Well, in a word, yeah, of course, you can learn several languages at the same time. You can also start juggling, playing the guitar, the piano, and you can also learn standing on your head, and all that at the same time. But to answer you shortly, it's usually not something that I would recommend you to do if you are a beginner level learner. It means that if you're just starting off with the language. Just based on research, it's not a reasonable thing to do to build a foundation in several languages at the same time. Obviously, it's possible. You just look at people living in multilingual countries or children who are being brought up in a multilingual environment. It's totally doable, but based on my experience, I can see that very often people don't have the time to invest into one language. And what about two? But if you are on an intermediate level and you would like to improve several languages that you already have a foundation in, then it's much more doable. So having this in mind, let's look at some things that you should be thinking about while learning two languages at the same time. And this one is very logical, isn't it? Like, if you are learning several languages that also look and sound similar, then they will start mixing up. For both you and for your memory, it will be a complicated situation. Quite practically, what happens on a memory level is that your brain doesn't know how to distinguish the languages and doesn't know where to put which kind of information. So the very logical question arises, does this new word belong to this language or this language? Because they're just so similar. And you can make this distinction very easily yourself as well. It's as easy as that, as listening to the language and thinking about, is this language similar to the one that I'm learning already? It means that you shouldn't be learning Spanish and Italian at the same time. You will be super confused about the different verb tenses, and you will eventually speak a mixture of Italian and Spanish. As you already know, making progress in a foreign language requires just one thing: learning the language every single day, even if it's just a little bit. What the research says is that your brain and your memory need to have a daily dose of the foreign language. It's as simple as that. So try to be realistic about your schedule and think about this very practically. Can you integrate into your daily schedule the following actions? 1. Can you study 5 to 10 new words in Speakly every single day? 2. Can you find approximately 15 minutes to do your daily listening in a single language? And 3, can you take additional 10 minutes to do supplementary stuff like reading about grammar, doing some live situations, reviewing previously learned words, and so forth? Now, for many people, the answer to these questions would be yes, if we are talking about one language. But for two, just be realistic about this, because if you don't find the time, then you won't achieve the results that you're looking for. Now, the thing that you might be thinking is, okay, what happens if I study one language on Monday, the second language on Tuesday, the first language again on Wednesday? It doesn't work like that. Your brain actually needs daily input in a single language, and that's what you need to take into account. Nobody has ever been good at multitasking, believe me. Even if you think you are, or even if you think that Elon Musk is great at multitasking, nobody is. Research is very clear about that we are most efficient if we are focusing on one thing at a time and we're moving from goal to goal. What very often happens when people are multitasking is that they feel that they're doing loads of things, and in the evening they're saying that, oh, I did so much today. But practically, when they start looking at their achievements for the day, it's not that much. So while you are learning languages daily, just move from one task to another. For example, before you haven't reached your daily goal of new learned words, don't go into daily listening or don't go into review mode. Just achieve your daily goal, and after that, take the time to go into the daily listening. Such a focus from one task to the other has been the most successful based on our experience. So So if you are learning 2 languages at the same time, it means that you need to give yourself a break. You can't expect progressing in the language so fast as you would do in a single language. So just give yourself a break, don't rush, and be aware that it will take time. But eventually you will have the benefits of 2 languages that you can speak and have conversations in. So if you had this crazy idea of learning 2 languages at the same time, hopefully this video was useful for you. There is nothing cooler than learning several languages at the same time and diving into languages in such a way. I have experienced this so many times. But be realistic about this and really plan your steps out based on these points that we were covering today. Until the next time.